Hi guys, welcome to part 1 of a 5-video marathon event for the month of Halloween. I'm very excited to do this because I'm trying to get as much done as possible, and I want to try to expand my repertoire and try to get more videos out there and more reviews. So the first series I wanted to talk about for the month of Spook and Scare and Halloween kind of fits into the realm of the classic monsters. It came out earlier last year, and I kind of wanted to talk about it because it, like I said, it fits into the theme of the month. And I thought it'd be interesting to discuss because for the start of a movie, reboot franchise, it kind of misses the mark on some level. And, I today wanted to talk about the show Creature Commandos. So let me just grab my notes here. Here we go. So Creature Commandos is an HBO Max exclusive series. It is 7 episodes long. It was directed by James Gunn, who is now the president of the DC Cinematic Universe and that franchise. It was made, of course, by Warner Brothers. Bobby Pill's Studios was in charge of the pre-production, while Studio IAMMWP handled main production of the series. And the composers for the musical score were done by Kevin Kiner and Clint Mansell. The headlining actors for this ensemble cast include the likes of Indira Varma, who plays Frankenstein's bride, or The Bride, Frank Grillo as Rick Flag Sr., the amazing Alan Tudyk as Dr. Phosphorus, Sean Gunn, the brother of James Gunn, who plays Weasel and G.I. Robot, Zoe Cho, who plays Nina, Anya Chalatra, as Cersei, David Harbour from Stranger Things fame as Frankenstein, Viola Davis reprising her role throughout the DC universe as Amanda Waller from the Suicide Squad films, and Maria Bakalova, who plays Princess Ileana. So, with that said, I wanted to talk about some stuff that I thought was kind of hit and miss, right? So, there are good things about Creature Commandos that I liked, and then there are things that I thought could be improved upon, and then there are just other things that I just was not that big of a fan of. So, I don't want to do what I did in the Marvel Zombies video and just start off with the bad on the get-go. I actually want to try to talk about some of the good first. So, I like some of the voice actors. Alan Tudyk is always a phenomenal treat to listen to. From his work over in Disney to now with other projects, he's just an amazing voice actor. His work as Dr. Phosphorus was by far standout. I loved the character designs. That's a positive. I loved all the unique different character designs. I like how this was kind of taking inspiration from the Hellboy kind of style of art, and everyone just is so heavily shaded. It's all in a comic booky graphic novel kind of style. I loved the design for the bride. I thought she looked amazing. I love her costume. I love her kind of stitched up face and her eyes. I love Dr. Phosphorus' design, that kind of radioactive skeleton with the flames, and he can melt people's faces off. That was cool. G.I. Robot's a really nice design with kind of like the World War II, just kind of standard uniform, Tin-Man, automaton guy, like what the 40s thought the future of robots was going to be. Yeah, I liked their designs. There are other designs that could have been worked on better, or were just really bland, like Rick Flag, and Amanda Waller, and Cersei, and the Princess, and Weasel, but that just comes from translation from the live-action stuff to the cartoon world. That has nothing to do with the designers. Some of the voice actors, like I said, are amazing, but, like I said in my Marvel Zombies review, I don't know if this is David Harbour's first repertoire with voice acting with this show, but I think he had coaching between Creature Commandos and the Red Guardian in Marvel Zombies, because his work here is just kind of bland. And that's just my opinion. I just feel like whenever he reads a line, he's just kind of reading off a script and he's not giving that much emotion. Like, it's just kind of just, he's doing the performance that he's supposed to do. It's not the best, but that's just my opinion. Rick Flag Sr. was just kind of He was fine. Frank Grillo's a good actor. Nothing against him. But again, Rick Flag Sr. is just such a bland, basic bitch, cookie cutter, follow the rules, no bullshit commander dude, that he's just kind of lost in the sauce of all the different monsters and their problems and what's going on with them. And Viola Davis is just Viola Davis. I really liked Indira, I've already forgot her name. The actress who plays the bride. I really like what she brought to the character. I think this is my problem. Okay, so when it comes to the world of celebrity voice acting, right? We have voice actors who give it their all with every performance because they work mainly with their voice. They're not on camera as often, so they have to use their voices as their expression because that's all you have to work with. Whereas with celebrities, like big Hollywood A-list celebrity voice actors, some of them do not make the transition to voice acting that well. Like I said, Frank Grillo and David Harbour and Viola Davis, really bland, really just not the greatest. But then on the other side of the coin, you have Alan Tudyk, who's been doing voice acting for what, 15, 20 years at this point? And he's been doing this for a while, so he has that in his pocket, that expertise of voice acting to emote with his voice and do different voices. Like, anyone remember King Candy from Wreck-It Ralph? That guy. Alan Tudyk is that guy. And it's just, I feel like with certain celebrities, they cannot act with their voices in terms of cartoons and animation. So, I know we all like to make the memes from, especially in terms of the video game world, with Mortal Kombat 1 not too long ago, with Megan Fox, who was playing Natara, how she cannot voice act. And I'm of the opinion that if an actor is dedicated enough and wants to try their hand at voice acting and wants to step into that world, by God, let them try. At least let them try. But you can tell that certain celebrities are just giving it nothing. Like, it's just a paycheck for some of these people. Not to say that I don't think they cared about the performance or cared about their job, but it's just, I wish they had more passion that voice actors like Rob Paulson or Seth Green or Sean Astin or Greg Sipes or, oh my God, the late Kevin Conroy. All those voice actors who gave stellar performances in everything they did, no matter what the project was. And no matter how bad the show was or how it was received by the audience, they still gave it 1,000%. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the length of the show. Like I said in my previous episode, my biggest problem with modern streaming today is this idea that shows, especially if they're stream only or streaming exclusive, you can't expand upon the story. Let me explain. So, Marvel Zombies was 4 episodes long in what should have been a 10-episode season. That story was rushed to the point of absurdity. We got no time to connect with the characters. We had no time to care about the emotional stake. There was no establishment of the tone or the gritty and dark nature of the show. It was just Marvel Zombies. Let's have jokes and no one gives a shit about the characters kind of thing. And we have shows like, I don't know, over on Netflix that are, a whole season comes out in one day and you binge it in the first day. It's not a matter of waiting a week for an episode anymore, which I think kind of kills the excitement. So, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but if I remember correctly, when X-Men 97 came out on Disney Plus last year, did they not have a weekly release schedule? Which what kept the fan engagement going, which kept the theories coming in, which kept excitement for the show up at a level. Like, it's like, I think streaming services are scared that if they don't release everything in one go, excitement and hype for the show is going to die, but that's what's going to kill the show regardless. So, Creature Commandos is 7 episodes long, and again, the story is rushed. I'm sorry, the story is rushed. It's like, we start up with the plot of having to save the princess of this fake European country, right? And if she dies, hell breaks loose. But then Cersei reveals that she's going to be spearheading the end times. And so now the plan is we have to kill her. And it's like the plans change so quickly in the show. It's like, what is the motive for any of this to happen? It's like, yeah, we have the established motive of we have to protect the princess or hell's gonna break loose. But after they decide to kill the princess, it's like, even then, when Nina dies, it's like nothing mattered. It's like the whole plan just fell to shambles. So let me discuss some of the things I also had a problem with. So, the princess as a character kind of sucks. I feel like she was just there for basically fan service, right? So, she seduces Rick Flag Sr., and they do the deed. And then she plays him like a fiddle to get what she wants. And then that storyline is immediately ended as soon as Cersei's taken out of the picture. The last we see of Rick Flag Sr., he gets beat the shit out of, and he's in a coma with a broken spine. But according to Tumblr and the Creature Commandos community, and from what I've heard from the show Peacemaker, he is now an unforgivable piece of shit as a character, but I don't know, I don't watch anything DC related outside of the animation. I have no knowledge of Peacemaker. All I know is that John Cena is in it. But regardless, so on top of that, we also have the fact that Cersei as a villain is kneecapped after what? Episode 3? She's immediately taken down as a villain and her threat is immediately capped off. It's like, I feel like along the way, when this show was in production, they kind of scrapped the idea of Cersei being the main villain, and they made it the princess for, like, a twist reveal, but, like, even the princess being the bad guy in the end makes no sense. We have no idea if Cersei was just bullshitting Amanda Waller, because she claims that her visions are always 1,000% true. But, like, even then, she still could have been lying. She still could have been lying about her vision and the princess to get what she wanted, the death of Ileana. But we don't know. We don't know. It's like, why establish Cersei as the villain when you're going to do this weird twist that doesn't really have a satisfying payoff in the end? Another thing I wanted to talk about, some of the characters have, like, what I call anime plot point syndrome. Allow me to explain again. So, in some shows in anime, most notably and infamously, Mirai Nikki, or The Future Diary, you would get introduced to a character that you liked, right? And immediately when you first meet them, they get a tragic backstory. A tragic-ass backstory explaining where they got to where they are today, how they ended up in their position, why they're doing the thing they're doing, and then that same episode, they die. That's exactly what happens to G.I. Robot. So, G.I. Robot was my favorite character. The minute I saw that guy, I was like, that guy's my favorite. Sean Gunn, for as limited as a performance as that character has, killed it as G.I. Robot. Because in the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, James Gunn enlisted the help of his brother to motion capture act for Rocket. And in the behind the scenes of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, you can see the nuances in the motion capture performances that Sean Gunn pulls with his acting. He's an amazing actor, right? I think he should be in more things, quite frankly. I think Sean Gunn's underrated as hell, but with the limited amount of time that G.I. Robot got as a character, with his backstory in one episode, Cheers to the Tin Man, we get so little time to really know G.I. Robot, because he's only in it for, maybe 3 episodes, and then that's it. Like, that's really it for him. And it's like, and when he dies, it's immediately retconned at the end, because they rebuild him. So you have this emotional payoff for a character that you started to connect with, and then it's just ripped out from under you, because that death didn't ultimately matter. And don't get me wrong, Cheers to the Tin Man is probably my favorite episode from the show, outside of Dr. Phosphorus's backstory episode, but I just wish we had more time to get to know some of these characters. Like I said, anime plot point syndrome. You meet a character, you get to connect with them for 1 episode, and immediately in that same episode, they die. It's like, why bother giving them these tragic backstories when you're just gonna kill them off in the same episode? I've always had an issue with that. Not even in just this show and anime in general. I've always hated that trope. It's annoying, it's ridiculous, it makes no sense. But moving on, like I said, Alan Tudyk's probably the standout actor of this show, playing Dr. Phosphorus, because his design is so unique, and what we get from him as a character is so tragic. Also, he took out Rupert Thorne, so I'm not familiar with any of these characters in the comics. Like I said, I'll call it Marvel bias, I suppose. I grew up with Marvel primarily as a child. I got into the MCU after Guardians of the Galaxy. I have an inherent bias because some of the MCU stuff, especially in the Thanos saga, was done brilliantly. But post Thanos saga, it's just been bullshit. You all know my opinions on that already. But bottom line, I've never been really a DC fan. The only amount of DC knowledge I have is anything related to the Batman the Animated Series stuff, because that stuff's golden. I tried getting in the Green Lantern. The only character I really liked was the Blue Lantern. He was really cool. I think his name was Walker. I have DC's The Unkillables. That's an amazing standalone story. When they tried to do the zombie outbreak storyline, which I think was handled way better than Marvel Zombies. But if you need a new comic to read, go read that, because it was done really well. But yeah, I'm not a DC person. I'm not familiar with Dr. Phosphorus as a character. I never met Dr. Phosphorus in the comics. I don't know if that's just because I haven't been reading the right amount of stories with the character. I don't know if that's just because I haven't been exposed to that much Batman stuff outside of the animated stuff or some of the comic book stuff I've read. But I don't know who Dr. Phosphorus is outside of the show. But he kills Rupert Thorne, and he's an established, long-lasting Batman baddie. And don't get me wrong, I was glad to see him go. I always thought he was annoying, but I was shocked that they capped him so quickly, because with the Robert Pattinson movies, I assumed they were going to be bringing him into the equation soon enough, but guess not. He's dead. But no, I think Dr. Phosphorus has a really good episode, and that line he gives when he's playing with the little girl and her parents come running out, and he goes, "Oh no, I'm sorry, we were just pretending to fly." I'll admit, that almost got me. That really almost got me. Alan Tudyk really knows how to make tearjerkers, I guess. So what else? Okay, so I don't like the fact that. Okay, let me talk about this real quick. So there's a maximum security prison for just monsters, right? We all know why G.I. Robot's there. we all know why Dr. Phosphorus is there. Hell, we might even know why Weasel is there to an extent. But, really, why is Nina there? Outside of the fact that she was born different and she was literally mutated to be a fish person. She's not a criminal. Like, she's never killed anyone. She's never committed a crime. Why is she in prison? By all accounts, she's the most normal person of this bunch. And outside of Nina, everyone else is an established killer of some sort. G.I. Robot has a rap sheet that probably makes Dr. Phosphorus blush. Dr. Phosphorus kills Rupert Thorne and takes over his crime underworld. Weasel was part of the Suicide Squad, and he was inadvertently framed or assumed to have killed children. And we all know that's not true, but that's not what the show believes. And the Bride has just been an on-the-run fugitive criminal for at least, 2 centuries. But with Nina, it made no sense, because she was literally just a normal person amongst this group of killers. I never understood why she was amongst this monster squad outside of the fact that she was a fish person. And the fact that they, again, anime plot syndrome, she gets her backstory in the episode that she immediately dies in. I don't know. I hate that trope so much. And I feel like the friendship between Nina and the Bride wasn't really established well. Because up until, episode 7, the Bride didn't give a shit about Nina, really. The Bride just saw Nina as this, nuisance. And someone just to be babysat for. But then all of a sudden, when Nina dies, she does a complete 180 and just says, "You killed the first friend I ever had." And it's where were the signs that you started to connect with Nina? Because outside of the brothel, you really didn't care about her. You didn't care whether she lived or died. You saw her as a nuisance and an annoyance. It's I didn't understand that, personally. Why they rushed this friendship and made it seem like she was so close with Nina. I mean, outside of the fact that they were the only 2 women on the team, and the fact that they were teamed up the most, I don't know. I really don't know why they rushed that friendship. I feel like that should have been addressed more. Again, it just comes down to the episode amount and the streaming. So, according to the facts of this show, James Gunn worked on the concept with spec scripts. He got them done in weeks before he got promoted at DC, right? So, Creature Commandos was the aperitif for the DC cinematic universe being rebooted. It was picked to be greenlit first, to be in production first, because it was already done. Before Superman, this was the starting point for the new DC universe. And it's for the start of a reboot, it's kind of shaky at best. Because again, we have these characters that a lot of people that don't know comics will not recognize outside of, diehard fans. We have a plot that really is rushed and makes no sense, logically. We have characters that, again, we start to connect with, but we are given so little time to know them, and when they die, it holds no impact. Oh, and production for Season 2 has already begun, just to let you know. It's already been greenlit, so I don't know what they're gonna do for Season 2. So this goes without saying, but this show is influenced by Universal Classic Monsters, the manga series Golgo 13, which I've never heard of, and 1960s war movies, which was interesting to learn. So the characterization for Frankenstein and the Bride came from the novel by Mary Shelley, the 1818 version specifically. And what I appreciated was this fact: the actors got to record together in a booth because the energy between them had to feel real, which we don't really get a lot of the time nowadays because everyone records separately because God knows why. But I love the fact that these actors had to record in a booth in order to get some kind of chemistry together. Because way back in the day, when you have ensemble shows like this, you have to have the actors together to record, because that banter and that chemistry needs to be there, or else you don't care about the characters. Like in Mutant Mayhem recently, 2 years ago, the kids who were playing the new iterations of these turtles, they got to record together, and 90% of the ad-libbing made it into the movie because they got along well. It's like, I wish we still utilized this. I wish some people still utilize this and made it work. But as it stands, Creature Commandos just kind of missed the mark on a lot of things. So, what do I think about it overall? Creature Commandos has its highs and it has its lows. It has good animation. It has great animation. The fight choreography is really nice. The action scene, specifically with the bride, she packs a punch. And Dr. Phosphorus's abilities with his powers, that's creative. I loved that. But the characterization makes no sense for a lot of these characters. The plot makes no sense, and it's rushed to high heaven. The episode length needed to be longer, and it's a mixed bag, honestly. Do I hate Creature Commandos? No. I don't hate it like I do with Marvel Zombies. I think the potential was there, right? The potential was really there. I think if they had had more time to flesh out the story and make it longer, we would have had something really good. Because, let's just call it what it is. This is literally DC's Guardians of the Galaxy 2.0. But the characters don't connect. They don't. They really, 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 really don't. Whereas James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy, all these characters had so much time to connect, to grow, to build chemistry with each other, to build a rapport, to have history. They had multiple movies and multiple spin-offs to grow and to connect and to adapt as characters together. But whereas with Creature Commandos, this is the starting point to what's supposed to be the relaunch of the DC movie universe. Now I understand. I know from what friends of the DC universe have told me, they have a mention in Superman and Peacemaker, but again, I'm not a DC person. I'm really not into DC. I have no interest in Superman. I have no interest in any of the DC heroes outside of the Batman universe. And it's like, this really doesn't make me interested in the DC universe. It really doesn't. Some of the characters are really cool. I might go look up comic book spin-offs about Dr. Phosphorus or G.I. Robot. I'll definitely look them up. But like I said, I feel like the potential was there. It was literally gift-wrapped. But I just feel like I said, because James Gunn got this done first. He literally wrote this in a matter of weeks, and it was picked to go into production quick. Because, again, it was a finished product. The writing and the scripts were done. And I feel like it needed more time. I really feel like this needed more time. Because if we had gotten, in an ideal world, if we had gotten, a 12-episode season, if we had gotten more time to connect with these characters, if we'd gotten more time to learn about who they were outside of the one-episode backstory episodes, this would have been golden. This would have been a Halloween classic, in my opinion. The monster mashup, the horror gore aspect of it, this could have been a certified Halloween classic. Anybody could watch this for Halloween every year. You still can, but again, I just feel like this was a missed opportunity to make it, have them play into the fact that they are freaks. Again, they're monsters. They're based off of the classic Universal monster movies. Let that play into that. Let Nina embrace her strange, freakish heritage and embrace who she is. Let the monsters go crazy. But I don't know. I just really feel like this was a real hit and miss. So do I recommend Creature Commandos? If you're a DC fan, go for it. You'll probably find something in it to like that I couldn't. But in my personal opinion, I really think this is more of like a 6 out of 10. It's in the middle, right? It's not as bad as Marvel Zombies, but it's not great. It's just mediocre. It's meh. This is the standard middle fare action superhero misfit show. It's clearly trying to play off the coattails of Guardians of the Galaxy. But again, if you like it, go nuts. So yeah, this was kind of a short video, for once. So that was Creature Commandos. Wow, I'm so sorry if this was mostly just like a meh negative review, but I promise the next review is going to be mega positive because, Kieran, if you're watching this, happy birthday, because we are going to be diving into a certified Scooby-Doo classic from 1999, and we're going to be doing my personal favorite Scooby-Doo film, because it has the man, the myth, the legend, Tim Curry in it. We're going to be discussing the history and the movie Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. I'm so excited. Oh, I love the Witch's Ghost. But yeah, I will see you guys in the Scooby-Doo review, and I'll see you in the next Halloween review. Stay unique, and see you next time.